You don't miss weed. You miss who you were when weed felt magical. So I'm actually standing outside my first job. It's a CC's Pizza. This is where I got high for the first time. So if you know, in the restaurant industry, like there's a lot of like vapor smokers, especially like people like late teens, early 20s. Literally like right here, bro, like on that curb next to that dumpster, bro. Vaping is just part of the culture here, but this was my first job when I was 16. I remember one day my coworker had offered me a Juul, right? I had never vaped up until this moment. I tried to hit it, nothing came out, right? But then a few days later, we were on our breaks, right? So me and him, we went to his car together. So like literally like where I'm parked right now, instead he was facing the restaurant instead of facing away from the restaurant like how I am now. But he hands me a pen, right? A cart. And he told me, this is really gonna hit you. And back then, bro, I thought this was just nicotine, bro. I thought this was just like another Juul. So I hit it, right? We basically hotboxed the car. This was like the first time I was actually able to get smoke, like inhale smoke the right way. But anyways, I remember I went back from break. I did not feel anything. So I walked back to the restroom. I sat there scrolling on Instagram. After like 7-8 minutes, I realized, oh damn, I'm high. So I came out the restroom after my break, and my coworkers were laughing at me. My manager was laughing at me. I was just smiling, like my eyes were all red and glossy, bruh. And I remember even one of the customers was like,
hey bro, that dude over there fried as fuck.
Right? So from here on out, my brain associated his memory as funny, rebellious, freeing. I remember that summer, I went through 4 carts. So like not too long after this experience, I got my own plug and everything. And I live in Tennessee, so the carts here are definitely black market. They're not good for your lungs. I was definitely smoking booth. I'm not sure if y'all ever heard KRTs. That's what I was chiefing on. But I didn't care, because I sit in my room, I listen to music, bro, like hearing every instrumental, you know, dissecting the beat, like time felt slower, everything felt enhanced. See, and that's where nostalgia gets you. I remember how good the music was. I remember how intense this high felt, but I don't remember like this dependency starting to form. I don't remember like the transition in between a ambitious student. So at the time I had some college credit. I took an AP class. I got the highest AP test, world history, right? So from ambitious student in my sophomore year to rebellious stoner in my junior year. So by the time junior year started, I was just not experimenting anymore. I was chasing the high. But when you do that, your tolerance builds, the magic fades. And next thing you know, bro, you're hitting this pen like every 5 to 10 minutes just to feel normal. And that's where nostalgia splits from reality, because you think you missed the high, but what you really miss is the first time, right? And in drug culture, they call this chasing the dragon. But by then, I was smoking before school. I was smoking during lunch in the restrooms, literally like hitting the pen, like as when the teacher wasn't looking. So there was something called the hoodie method and the backpack method. You just like pretend this is a hoodie. Same thing with like your backpack, right? Like we were doing anything to get high. We will literally like escape from the school, like literally run out that bitch just to go to the park or some abandoned parking lot just to smoke weed. Because it stopped being funny. It stopped feeling like freedom. It just became how do you say, a routine, like just a degenerate lifestyle I was living. Most people who smoke weed, they like to look at the past, whether it's their first time getting high or some other memory. But nostalgia by itself is a very powerful emotion because it can serve as comfort, inspiration, or connection, or it can keep you yearning, stuck, or even trapped, especially when you mix this with an addiction. And that's what this video is about. One trait I've observed in these people who have successfully quit smoking is that they don't look at the past. Well, they aren't extremely nostalgic. Sure, they appreciate the past, but they're actively working on building a future that they want. During my addiction, I would try to relive, try to recreate the first high that I got back in 2022. So I would literally take tolerance breaks, 2-week tolerance breaks, just to get a little bit higher when I would use again. But I was never satisfied. And whenever I would try to quit, I would miss the substance, right? And I had what you call a deprivation mindset, and that's not a good way to quit. See, now you can't quit, you can't think of quitting as losing something, like AKA the weed. You gotta think of it as gaining something for the long term, like i.e. your energy levels, your mental clarity, your mental grit, just the drive to do things with your life. Another realization I made is maybe I don't even miss the weed. Maybe I just miss being a 16-year-old who was rebellious and had no responsibilities. I just remember being taken aback just by how good this substance felt, how good it made the music feel. And that's where nostalgia keeps you in the cycle. So I'm just gonna leave you with this question. Are you addicted to weed, or are you addicted to who you were when life felt simpler? Because the only way to beat nostalgia is to build a life that actively excites you more than the past ever did, right? You don't beat addiction by trying to relive the past. You beat it by becoming someone your past self would look up to.